Hey you guys, welcome to my official YouTube channel. I'm super uber ecstatic about this moment. I've been going back and forth in my head and my brain and just going ahead, and I'm coming to you, and I'm actually doing this today. This is going to be completely unedited, unscripted, uncut, raw, and straight realness. Kind of just like your favorite X-rated movie. But I have a lot of people that are pushing me to tell this story, and I owe it to the people that experienced this journey with me and my mother. I owe it to them because there's a lot of people that are no longer here, and there's a lot of people that are out here that's having questions about this experience. So without further ado, let me go ahead, and this is going to be a story time in addition to my channel. It's going to be an introductory of sorts. So you get to learn a lot about me and who's speaking with you. For all of you that do not know, there have been people that have been in my life for years at this point, and they still don't know. For all of you that don't know, I am one of America's youngest living organ donors. So essentially, that means that I have one kidney and my mother has my other one. And it happened to me at a very young age, to where I take on the inspirational concept that motivates me and determines me in every facet of my life. So the objective at the end of this video is to get a basic understanding, like a different perception from someone that has actually lived it, and at the time in which I lived it, that keeps me going and riding on my unicorn every single day, and it keeps me happy and engaging with the Most High. You feel what I'm saying? There's a lot of y'all, like, even though we're living in unprecedented times, there's a lot of people that are suffering at this moment, and I figure I'm not social media savvy. Like, I don't have any concept of social media. Like, this is not like my field and my range. Like, you know, I'm essentially subjecting myself to a vulnerability aspect of it all. So if you guys, in a sense, can allow me to give just a little bit of your time in order for you to hear my story in its entirety, you could take what it is that you want to take away from it. And at the end of the day, whatever you leave behind, I pick it up and I leave it to inspire the next generation. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that are really bothering me before I conclude into my story time. So let me just get to it before I make this video any longer than it has to be. If you actually Googled transplantation list or transplantation patients that are ready to receive a transplant, you would see that it's like 109 or 110,000. And there's a lot of things that we are doing that I'm seeing for myself that I'm just like, man, like, for one of the things, and I have some note cards, so just in case I glance down, I'm not being gross. It's just to keep me on track. You feel what I'm saying? Because I do talk a lot. Like, as you look into the news, like, you'll see like a lot of celebrities, like I can name 5 off top, that are like vying for organs at this point. And there's an actual transplant list that you go on, and they'll call you in order. You feel what I'm saying? So when a person has the money or they have a type status, other people are more obliged, in a sense, to go out and donate to them. You feel what I'm saying? Because they know that there's a monetary gain, there's a financial gain, and that, you know, that keeps them motivated to sacrifice themselves. But I'm speaking more so from the perceptive. I mean, even though we have great insurance, my parents have always had amazing jobs. We grew up in an age and an era to where we were not fortunate enough to say that, hey, we have 1 million followers, or hey, we're this type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the reason why they're doing that. And I'm just letting anyone out there know that if you do decide to, like, donate to these causes, when you're a celebrity, your favorite celebrity, and try to get the money, get the green dough, whatever, just know that a lot of times there's not longevity that comes out of doing so. You feel what I'm saying? Because once they figure out that they need an organ, then they'll go onto the platform, and like, how many celebrity status people with money do you know that have actually lived long term with an organ that they receive from their fans? You feel what I'm saying? That's one thing. 2 is, I've noticed like the drug usage and like the songs in which we listen to, or which y'all listen to, that kind of like glorify drug usage. So just because you're young, and I'm talking more so to the younger generation, I'm still to this day trying to figure out, like, even though I'm not that much much older than y'all, it's just like I have to come to y'all and translate into y'all's lingo in which y'all are able to understand and interpret it for yourselves, like the NGL, the ION, the no cap, or and that's on period poo. You know, I'm trying to translate it in ways where I can keep your focus and keep you excited and entertained, so you can be receptive of the message. But ultimately, I'm telling you guys, with the drug usage out here, you may not feel it now. You feel what I'm saying? But the perks and the coca and those various pills that y'all are taking, and just, I'm telling y'all, transplantation, just like cancer, like the need for organs, does not discriminate. So just because you're young at this time, don't ever think that you're not going to be sitting on that transplantation list as well. So it may not readily affect you, but the long haul of it, I'm telling y'all what I know. There's a lot of young people on this list. I'm just telling you things that can stay your ass up off the list. You feel what I'm saying? You may not listen to me, but eventually you're going to be listening to somebody. And I want you to get it young at an early age. That way you won't be like, oh, no one told me, or, oh, I didn't know. Ain't nobody got time for the uh-ohs and the ucky-doke. Okay. The third thing that I've been noticing now is this younger generation, like how I look without this makeup on is how I look when this makeup comes off. Okay. I'm just trying to give y'all, people are more receptive to listen to you when you look good. You know what I'm saying? I look good. But I'm telling y'all, with the weight control, I've noticed like a lot of young people, like from teenagers to like young 20s, like y'all don't even look like y'all are early 20s. Like me, you'll learn all about that in just a second. Man, I be out here just running circles over you young cats. I really do. Like there's people that are in like their teenagers, like y'all are young 20s, like y'all are like 300-400 pounds. Like, girl, damn, why you so big? Back in my day, and I'm gonna send a lot of y'all into a nostalgic state, and you'll see in just a second. We're gonna be reminiscing a little bit in this Storytime edition, and you're gonna see how things are different now than they were back when we was growing up. You know, we lived good, we looked good, we felt good. I always kept our bodies in shape. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's way different now. It's just like, like they'll have like, what is it, mukbang, where people get up on there and they start eating up all this food. I saw a YouTube video of a woman that was already, no offense to you, she was already 300 pounds. She doing a McDonald's challenge. She eating 5 burgers from McDonald's. Like, you just in one sitting just consume like 25 to 3,000 calories. Who is that cute to? Girl, we not finna glorify all that weight. Because them people that's overweight, glorifying it, best believe they don't want to be that big. You feel what I'm saying? Like, have you ever had like that one friend where they come over and the first thing they just bombard you, and the first thing that they do is go to the refrigerator? What you looking for in the refrigerator? The same thing that was there yesterday is the same thing that's there today. Well, you ain't got no pork. I don't eat pork. I may come in contact with pork every now and again, but I don't eat pork. You ain't got these chitlins. You remember, like, especially in the cattle parish, we have like a store that's called County Market, to where you go up in there and you get that big bucket, that big red bucket of chitlins. You go ahead and clean it and everything. That's really big for the celebratory causes for the New Year's, especially in a lot of black families. I've seen these people eat pork. They eat the pig ears, pig eyebrows, pig eyelids, pig snouts, pig lips. I didn't even know they had pig lips. They eating the pig guts, pig intestines, pig's anus, pig's rectum, pig knuckles. Girl, y'all out here, y'all got to keep in mind that black people especially, we have a sensitivity to salt and sugar. There's no reason for you to be going out here looking like this. There's a lot of y'all that are on this transplantation list because you got high cholesterol, you got high blood pressure, you got diabetes, you got gout, you got Asperger's, you got autism, you got lupus. Damn, pick a struggle. I'm tired of seeing it, y'all. So I'm just giving it to you how it was given to me. We didn't do all that when we was growing up. My pops kept us out of the fast food restaurants. You feel what I'm saying? Like, y'all doing too much out here, and anybody got time for it. So I just wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way while I could. And let's rejoice and get into this story time. I need to introduce myself to y'all. I forgot that some point, but I think it's really gross and weird that you don't know who you're speaking with. A lot of you guys know, a lot of y'all don't. So let's make it official. My name is Helen Brown. I was born on 7/11/1988 at 124 in Caddo Parish, which is Shreveport, Louisiana, if you're not familiar with the parishes, which is right outside of Bossier City, Louisiana, the separation of the Red River Bridge. I got to get that out. Shout out to 515318. We wretched, because we all got some wretched in us. I do the wretched, okay. But yeah, that's where I'm from. My pops decided that he wanted to raise us in East Texas so we can have the country way of life. And that retrogrades to the fact that once the virus hit, I'm just like, damn, don't y'all already have enough viruses out here as it is? And then two, where all the TP and the PT going? Like, y'all don't already have the stuff already accessible at your homes? Like, we from the country, repping out of 903. Like, I'm a rat neck, which translates, I'm a redneck. So I'm a rat neck. In any regards, people may make fun of how country we are, but you know, like y'all going crazy about there's being a meat supply. There's been a decrease in the meat supply. Like, where we gonna get our next batch from? Like, us, from our mentality, we can go right out there and shoot at a coon, a dilla. We got deers. Hell, even the coyotes can get it. You know, we got fish. We got everything. It's just a different way of life that I'm trying to translate unto y'all. Like, man, there's a reason why these things are different. But when you can conclude from a standpoint, someone that has experienced it and someone that's old enough to that has been through these things, and maybe you guys will be more receptive of it and just realize y'all got to slow down. Y'all got to really slow down. This generation right here, y'all in a hurry to go nowhere. How you gonna be in a hurry to go nowhere? You're running people off the road. You're acting like just slow down and live your life abundantly. And stop taking videos and pictures. Like, I come from an era to where we lived in the moment. Like, we had a 9 to 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. That's when you start making your phone calls. That's when you go ahead and get your text messages out the way. You got a booty call, and you need to get out the way. That's the time that you need to do it. You feel what I'm saying? We didn't grow up unlimited. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we didn't grow up with a lot of this stuff. We lived good, though. We lived really good. Like, at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, you'll see, what's that man? Jack LaLanne. You see like his juices and you see like his workout videos, you know, where you get up and you see your mama in the other room at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, just straight getting it, just straight working out. You feel what I'm saying? We had that discipline. That's the difference between then and now. You guys don't have no discipline. There's guys out here like getting weight loss surgery. Like, who do these? What they do to these? Ooh, that's what y'all like? Girls out here getting BBLs, like, you like for somebody to essentially mutilate your body like that? What are these waist trainers? Like, there's a reason why they got rid of these waist trainers. Y'all like pushing your organs together, and your organs can't breathe. Like, they can't survive that way. There's dudes out here getting BBLs. Like, girl, y'all have got to slow down and appreciate and live in that moment in time. That's what it's here for. We don't YOLO. I am of the Most High. We don't YOLO. There's no such thing as an acronym YOLO when it pertains to the Most High and his people. You only live once. This ain't my first life, and the damn sure not gonna be my last life. It's just the life of more uncertainty. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we have been given this free will concept. So this might be the last experience that you have in the free will aspect realm. But it's definitely not for the people that work for the Most High. This is definitely not our last life. You feel what I'm saying? And it's just one of the things that drive me. It's the driving factor to actually get this story told. Because God is pulling his people every which way but loose. You feel what I'm saying? So if I'm the next one, I'm the next candidate, at least I'll be ready. And you have something to remember me by. You feel what I'm saying? So without further ado, because I do talk a lot, let me go ahead and get my story translated onto you. So as I previously stated, I am one of the youngest living organ donors. I initially was told that I was the youngest living organ donor. So when you put the in the context and the frame in which you use it, I have had people come to me in various ways saying that, hey, you know, this or this and this and this. And then I realized that people don't know the difference between living and a cadaver. A cadaver is a corpse. So, you know, and that's another thing. Make sure it's of importance for you guys to have that heart on your driver's license or ID. In the state of Texas, you can only have one. I don't know. I met people from multiple states that have identification and driver's license. Weird. But although there's a conspiracy theory behind it, it is of importance for you to have a heart on your identification. It lets the people know that you are willing to sacrifice yourself in the afterlife, in the after frame, so that someone can rejoice in their second chance of life, essentially. So without that heart, then they would have to go through your family or your next of kin or your guardian. It's a lot more paperwork that actually goes into it. So it just makes everything a little easier with the heart already on there. And then in future videos, I'll tell you why children, especially and particularly children of color, black children, and black men are coming up missing without their organs. So I'll tell you that in a future video, but for sake of not getting my first video flagged, I'll go ahead and there's a lot of content that's going to be available to this page, you guys. I'm going to tell you like the foods and what you're consuming on a daily that are actually killing off your kidneys. So, you know, you not only have to worry about your kidneys in a certain aspect, you have to worry about your liver as well, because they go hand in hand. But yeah, let me finally get into it. So on April 11, 2008 is how the story began. And this is from the mind frame and perspective of a then 19-year-old. So I was waking one day out of my sleep. I was sleeping very well. And something was just like, hey, you know, there was you know how you have that feeling of a spirit that comes onto you unexpectedly, in a sense. And like there's like a cold draft. And I went and made sure that my window was closed. My windowsill was, you know, I was just making sure that it didn't have to be sealed up. And so I went back to sleep for like a few more minutes. And then I was waking abruptly again. So at this moment, I'm getting frustrated because I've always had a great relationship with the Most High. So I feel as though, like, if you're communicating with me on a different standpoint, I'll be able to understand. You feel what I'm saying? And so the Spirit whispers to me, I need you to get up. I have something, the Most High has something for you to do, and only you're able to do so. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Let me go ahead and wake up. And so I got dressed and did my hygiene, my ADLs, and I went ahead and just, hey, what do I need to do? Like I'm full throttle for this experience. And the Spirit says, well, I need for you to go ahead and follow your mother to the hospital for today. And I'm thinking like, damn, what am I following her for? She grown. What am I following her for? And then it was just like, okay, well, you know, I'm sassy in nature, so I'm not finna give any flack. You feel what I'm saying? So I went ahead and I started my car. So, you know, how you trying to go out and not make it seem like you being nosy, but you really be nosy. And so as I went out, the Spirit was like, hey, follow me. I know the way. So as I got into my car, as my mother was leaving, I followed her, and then we're heading to Shreveport. And as we're headed to Shreveport, in my mind, retrograding, I'm just like, she's been to like 4 or 5 doctor's appointments already this week. So what's really going on? Like, I'm the last of 5, and I was told that her tubes got cut and dyed and tied and fried and thrown out. And my mother has actually went through like a partial hysterectomy. So I'm like, well, she can't be pregnant. So like, what part of, like, what arena, like, where were we going? And so as we ended up at Willis Knight off Hearn in Shreveport, Louisiana. And so we went to a different part of the hospital because I'm familiar with it because these are where all of our doctors are and our dentists and our specialists. And so I realized that at this part of the entranceway to the hospital, it says nephrology. And so I was just like, nephrology, okay. So as I'm like ear hustling on her conversation, nephrologist came out, a kidney specialist that specializes in the kidneys and the functionality of the kidneys in every aspect, including the adrenal glands and everything that goes into it. So as I was listening to them, I conclude from the story as I was ear hustling on the side. So then I was just like, man, I'm not going to be nosy like that. So I'm finna go in and I'm finna, you know, introduce myself and let her know I was there. So fast forwarding, once I let her know that I was there, she was like, why are you here? And I was just like, well, you know, the Spirit led me to be. He said, follow me. I knew the way. So I went. And so she's just like, well, you could go ahead and stay in, and I'm going to see what he's talking about. And so the nephrologist then tells her that she has to start dialysis. And not only did she have to start dialysis, she had to start dialysis today. And so this is way before nursing school. So I'm 19 at this time. And so what happened was I said my goodbyes to them and introduced myself again to the nephrologist, because I knew that wasn't going to be the last time I saw him. And so what ended up happening was I sped home. And so I went, because, you know, I'm old school perspective. So we have a such thing that's called encyclopedias and dictionaries, whatever. And so I'm looking through, and then I'm scanning on my computer, and I'm going onto the internet, and I'm going into the database, and I'm looking at all of this stuff. And so what I concluded from it was, at this time, I needed more paperwork. I needed more insight. And so what happened was I waited until she came home. And so when she came home and she put a purse, you know how we be nosing in our mom's purses. And I found the paperwork with the documentation and diagnosis. The official diagnosis is what I needed. So as she set that down and I got the paperwork, it said that she was suffering from end-stage renal failure due to untreated hypertension. And so one of the things I have to tell y'all is your body can take so much turmoil and so much disrespect to it for an extended amount of time. The way that the Most High created our bodies, He created our bodies in various ways in which we're able to adapt, in a sense, to the brutality and to torment that we're essentially neglecting our bodies. And so some people can live with hypertension for so long untreated. And in her situation, it was over 15 years. And so at this time, your kidneys are like two organs that do not like to take on more workload than they have to. And so essentially one would say, hey, I need you to pick up the pace. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we getting in more workload than we have to. Like, these vessels start like constricting, so I'm not getting any oxygen, which means I'm not getting any air. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm suffering over here. Like, I'm trying to breathe. Like, I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. And the other one's just like, hey, well, I'm finna take a chill over here, so you do what you got to do. And you go ahead and whatever. And so what happened rather, was one kidney had like a 30% and the other kidney had 40% of functionality at this point. And so after further doing my due diligence, once I got finished with my research and everything, this April 11, 2008 was on a Thursday. And so on April 15th, that Monday, I had went up to the transplant clinic, and I had told them, like, I'm led to come up here. Like, I have I've been told through various ear hustling phases that my mother might need a kidney. So, hey, here I am. How you doing? And then so the nurse was just like, how old are you? And then I was just like, well, I'm 19. And then she was just like, okay, let me go ahead and send this documentation, this information into the physician. And so we'll proceed from there. And then so as I'm waiting, I went up the street to Southern Made Donuts and got me some coffee, I'll never forget. And so I had came back. So I realized that I've been up here for like 6 or 7 hours. And then they were just like, well, is your mother with you? And I was just like, absolutely not. She doesn't know that I'm up here. Like, that's gross. Like, why would I tell her where I'm going? And then so after all of that, just to speed it up a little bit, they made me to where I had to speak to 2 social workers, and I had to get approval from each social worker. And so the first social worker that I talked to, like, I was going down and just like, hey, I've been called, I've been led to do this. So just tell me, like, how can I, what steps do I need to conclude to where I'm gonna be able to donate to my mother. And then so she in turn had told me, she was like, well, she's already on the transplant list. So, and then I was just like, so what does that mean? She's already on the transplant list. Like, she's going to get someone else's kidney? I was like, that's weird. Like, why would, like, you have a completely healthy person. I've been an athlete all my life. Like, you have a completely healthy person right here. They're saying, hey, me, So after we summed it up, and then she came to the conclusion that I was serious in all ways, shape, forms, and facets. And then so I proceeded on that was Monday. I talked to the first social worker Wednesday, and the second social worker I talked to that Friday. And then so after talking to the second social worker, she was just like, I see your seriousness, and they're going to say something about your age and the fact that you're a female. So they're going to tell you something about that. But as far as HIPAA laws and regulations, we'll just go ahead and I'll pass the paperwork on to the physician in charge, and we could go ahead and start the process. So it was like an immediate process at this point. Once I actually talked to, I think it was Dr. Altman. It was Dr. Altman and Dr. McMullen, the first specialist that I spoke with. And then I got introduced to the LSU transplant team. And so after getting formally introduced to the actual transplant team, we got the go. And so they literally test you from head to toe. Well, I say literally in a not a literal aspect, if I will. It's just like I didn't have to see. The only two specialists that I was not required to see was a neurologist and a podiatrist. So other than that, you go to the ENT, you go to the cardiologist. I even had to go to the dentist because your oral health plays a vital role in your overall health, which people are confused about. Like, why would you walk around with your mouth looking like that's your body? But anyway, I had to see everyone. And so that whole process took, I want to say it came to conclusion in about 2 months. I want to say where I was doing with that whole process of testing, because we wanted to be somewhat immediate as far as like the transplantation aspect, but however, you can't rush this. You feel what I'm saying? So I matched perfectly with my mother, and come to find out there was a couple of people that had went in that like were up to the challenge. I guess that they didn't match entirely, and these were some relatives. So I matched 100 percentile. And so then what ended up happening was the last specialist I had to see, I had to have an ultrasound on my kidneys, which it was really weird to me because I only thought you had to have an ultrasound on babies, like weird. And so I had to have the ultrasound. I had to go in. That was my last test, was to have an ultrasound in the functionality of my kidneys. So my kidneys are perfect. And I looked at them on the screen and I was just like, man, the specialist, the doctor was just like, man, those are huge. He was like, and they are healthy. And so he went down he did the whole rundown of how they look and the functions and how they're doing. And so I was just like, let's go. Okay, so after that all ended, I have a lot of questions about my preparation pre-surgery. I had a lot of questions as far as my preparation. So what I did to prep for it, I've always been a runner. I ran 5 to 6 miles a day. Yes, a day. And then I detoxed, I juiced, and I consumed faithfully 1.5 gallons of water every single day. So not only were my kidneys good to go, like my whole body and my organs, because I have to think about post-surgery and like the conclusion to it. Like I had to think in that perspective for myself. Because what good am I, to my mother in the long haul of things if I'm not able to go about as in the sense of how it was prior. But anyway, so my report time we were initially going to do it in July. And what happened was my mother's shunt had ended up clotting. So she had severe clotting factors in that shunt. And so what they do in Dallas is like they'll go ahead and insert a shunt or, a portal of entry for you to do dialysis, right? And so the whole objective of dialysis is for you have a machine to where you're hooked up on, to where it takes over the responsibilities and the job, the role of your kidneys. And some people's kidneys during that time have came back to life, whereas others, unfortunately, their family didn't step up and donate to them. So unfortunately, we did lose quite a bit of people in this experience. And before I conclude, I would like to send a special shout out to Chris on Greenwood Road at that dialysis clinic. You know exactly who you are. You give a damn about your patients, and we love you so much. Like, you have no idea. You have no idea what people are going through. You have no idea, like, engaging on people on a day-to-day. Like, you have no idea what people go through on a day-to-day basis. And we appreciate and respect you so much that you actually gave a damn, because there were so many rude and disrespectful people during this time. So anyway, so after her shunt clogged up and like clotting factors, she was placed on Coumadin and warfarin. And, you have to give that patient a little bit of time to go ahead and let that wear off, not only unclot, the clotting factors, but for it to have time to wear off. And so in her case, it took a couple months. Like, we could have already concluded this. We could have already been done with this. But essentially, you don't want that particular patient to bleed out on the table. So it just depends on that patient and their history as to when in the numerous extensive tests that you have to endure being on blood thinners to we don't want to speed up anything. You feel what I'm saying? So for the sake of time, what had ended up happening was, I want to say around August, late September, we had to come to an agreement of when we was going to transplant, because although, you know, she's going to dialysis faithfully, it's not really working in a sense. And I'm really rushing them. Like, I don't want to give, like, I want to get this done to where we don't have to worry about that. You feel what I'm saying? And so we came to an agreement on December 22nd, 2008 was the day that the inspiration officially started. So for the sake of time, so as we moved to the ultimate day of surgery, what happened was we were supposed to report at 4:15 a.m. on the 22nd. So some weird things started transpiring in between that time. So what had ended up happening on December 21st, I had got, like, you know, when you rep for the Most High, he'll give you like signs and premonitions every so often, and what you have to see in order for you to, you know, like, not only do his works, but why he's asking you to do the work, and what you can ultimately expect out of taking a test that he has given you, the reasons as to why he's giving it to you, and to ultimately succeed. So there's numerous tests that we have been given and will continuously be given into the day that we depart, and even into the next dimension that the Most High gives you. It's your choice of whether or not you want to be accepting of it. But when you accept the challenge and you win and you become victorious in the challenge, will you see like how your story progresses and how blessed you are, not because of that act, it's because you had it. When he came to you, you acted on it without hesitation, and this is this is what makes the Most High smile. This is what gives people hope in life. So in any regard, I had these three visions, premonitions, whatever you may call it, that happened that day before. I've never seen them before, and I've never seen them after. So what happened was, a Caddo Parish police officer received a kidney from his best friend. And then the second story of that day was a wife that had donated to her husband. And this was kind of funny in a sense, because after she donated, a few months or so after, in his his recovery phase, he had ended up cheating on his wife. And so his wife was trying to cut her organ that she donated to him out, because, yeah, that was a crazy story, but it's really funny. And so the third story that resonated with me even to this day, I've never seen it before, never seen it after, is a 16-year-old who donated to his grandmother. It was a Lifetime Movie Network premiere, and his grandmother raised him, you feel what I'm saying? And so he found it into himself to donate to her. And a few years later, she had ended up passing, but it was the fact that he took on the test, and, you know, that's what led him to, but anyway. So it's my turn. And so all this concluded like 2-3 o'clock a.m. I'm just up and I'm pacing around. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm ready. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I live my life in the form of basketball every single day. Like, we need a game plan. We need to formulate this so I can do the I-oop. Like, I can go in for the layup. Like, we have to play it like this to where it can be in sequence. And so, let's go win this game. You feel what I'm saying? And so, the reason why I keep bringing, or I brought up the aspect of basketball, is a lot of people don't know this. I received a full scholarship ride to a Division I school at 17 years of age. I went to school at Elysian Fields, Texas, Elysian Fields High. And I was getting ready at the time, like, even being red-shirted, like, I still practice, that's hence why I work out every day. And so I formulate different aspects of my life in the form of like a playbook in a play field, you feel what I'm saying? And so anyway, got into my reminiscence, got into retrograde a little bit. So what had ended up happening was, at 3 o'clock that morning, I had ended up going into the other side of my parents' home, and I had woke my mother up, and I was just like, let's go. You feel me? Let's go. We ready. She ready. Let's go. And so she's like lollygagging a little bit, playing a little bit of grab ass. And I know that she was a little hesitant at first. So I was just like trying to get her excited, trying to get her like, we going into, like both of us are going into our second chance of life. This is ultimate journey. And so they gave her some iodine, which I remember because I remember telling her, joking with her, that the iodine was darker than she is. And they gave her something else to bathe with. This is 12 years ago, so a lot of things in the concept may have changed. But one of the things, you know, you get ready, is iodine that she bathed in. The donor bathes regularly. And another thing that I want to add, I do have questions about this. The donor, the hospital, the government pays for your sacrifice. For the recipient, you know, you just use your insurance and go normally. And so I had to get that out of the way. So after she got finished and we getting ready to leave, you know, we of color, so you know we probably gonna be late anyway. So as we arrived at like 3:50. Anyway, it was like 3:45. So prior to us actually arriving there, when my mother had got in the car because she had drove that day, when she got in, and I was just like, girl, you supposed to be excited. Like, we Helens. Like, we come from the aspect of a brown-skinned Helen that divided 2 nations. You feel what I'm saying? That's a brown-skinned Helen from Troy, Turkey. Divided 2 nations. She's about that life. Her name Helen. That's what she do. We got another Helen that can't hear or see. She graduated from a university. This is what we do. We take on challenges and we become successful. How we gonna do this is we gonna get through this thing together. The thing. You feel me? And so she's just still nervous. She was just like, I don't feel as though, like, I don't want you to have any regrets or any resentments, you know, towards like the whole donation itself and towards like going into it. And I just had to reassure her, like, this is me. This is who I am. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to worry about me like you never had to worry about me. My parents have taken care of me all of my life and still to this day. I rep for Helen and Glenn. You feel what I'm saying? Those are my goons. You feel what I'm saying? So whatever you need and I can give it to you, then that's what we just gonna do. Like, if I wasn't able to give it to you, then I wouldn't even bother with this. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like, we are in this together. My pops introduced us to country music in 2005. And one of the biggest bands at that time, it was a Zac Brown band. And they came out in November. Well, that particular CD, The Foundation, came out in November 2008. So I'm telling you this because regardless of any endeavor that you ever venture out into your life, there comes an invade your memory. You retrograde in an aspect. You always remember like a song or a movie that comes out. And when you hear it to this day, it brings you into, you know, a nostalgic experience to where you remember where you was, where you was going to, where you headed, and what you was doing at that time, ultimately. And so we hear this song that says, cocaine flame in my bloodstream, sold my coat when I hit Spokane, brought myself a hard pack of cigarettes in the early morning rain. Skip, 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 skip. I still don't know what love means. I still don't know what love means. Jolene. So I was like, okay, so we're getting into it and she's getting a little hype. And so one of our favorite country music duos is Kix Brooks and Ronnie Dunn. Brooks and Dunn. Shout out to Kix Brooks from Shreveport, Louisiana. I bet you didn't know that. Shout out to you, Kix Brooks. You've like really been a game changer in all of this experience. And so what happened was, we're huge Brooks and Dunn fans. You feel what I'm saying? We know every song, every lyric, whatever. We know it. So after, you know, I was just like, let's play something country. And so as my mother starts crying at this moment, and so as I turned the tunes down, when I turned the tunes up, I would never forget this as long as I live. I was just like, Mama, I don't know what to tell you. We have to go into this together. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. So we're going to be happy. We're going to be excited. We're going to go up into this thing and we're going to just rejoice in the moment. We're going to live in this moment. And so what happens is I was just like sit back and relax to our favorite duo. So as I turn the tunes up, this is what the tune had said. Cowgirl, don't cry. Ride, baby, ride. The lessons of life show us all in time. Too soon, God will let you know why. But if you fall, you get right back up. Cause the good Lord calls everybody home. Cowgirl, don't cry. Dun, 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 dun. Just at that moment. And I started crying at that moment because, you know, it's a song that resonates with you for the rest of your life. And that's what happened to me. So as we're pulling up at Willis Lake North and we get out, this is coming from a mother-daughter duo, Helen and Helen. We've never gotten along my entire childhood leading up to my adolescent years. You feel what I'm saying? I've always been a daddy's girl. We walked into that hospital, into the transplant side, hand in hand is what we did. We walked hand in hand. As I can even remember skipping. She went her way, I went my way, because she has more extensive pre-duties to do, pre-surgery. And so what ended up happening with me, so I had went in, and I have a lot of piercings. And so they made sure that I had took everything out and took my nose ring in so they could insert the nasal cannula. And so the anesthesiologist then came in, and so I was out. I was out. I've never been on an anesthesia before, prior to the end. And this is my first major surgery. And so what happened was, during the moment in which they were doing the surgery or whatever, what the nurse had ended up telling me is how you know that the kidney took is because you look at the glands and see like the urine coming to and from. And so that's how you knew that the organ had took. And so I can't tell you anything about that part because I was late. And so what ended up happening was, they lay you side by side. And so at that time in 2008, we got introduced to the laparoscopic technique of surgery. So it wasn't anything that was new. It was just advancement and the transplantation side as far as the surgery. And so what concludes with it is it's like minimum scarring, because I told them like everything that I was doing, modeling at that time, you know, basketball. So I just wanted minimum scarring. And so my actual surgeon that did my surgery has very tiny hands. And I'm about to introduce you guys to him in just a second. I promise you this is not going to be long. Just give me about 15 to 20 more minutes of your time. I promise. And so his hands, like, I'm a huge one. And so his hands cut off right here, but this is ultimately the palm of his hand. You feel what I'm saying? So his hands are like very tiny. And so what happened is they put the tubules in. They put the tubules in right here. That's another port. And they take the kidney out right here. And so they have a camera which is guiding them to and from. And when they take the kidney out right here. So that's pretty small, right, y'all? Back in the day, they used to cut you from here to here, every which way but loose, and all right here, and everything. You have all the damn scars. I got time for these. And so, after the procedure itself was done, and they knew that the kidney was working, and then they sutured us up or whatever. So as we were headed out, we were still placed side by side through this whole entire process. And so I came to when they were trying to wake me up. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And so as I woke up, I remember looking at my mother, and she looked at me, and I told this lady that I loved her more than pancakes love Mrs. Butterworth. And they wheeled us out at that time. And so we were in separate rooms at this point, the only time that we were separated from my understanding. And they told us that it was going to be a little bit before we got our own room. And this is Monday night. So, you know, just as long as y'all had me in the room by 7:30, 7:40, because at 8 o'clock, I'm a huge wrestling fan. So John Cena is about to do this main event. So I need to be making sure that I'm in this room so I can go ahead and watch this, okay? Because we finna turn up Raw Edition. And so when they finally placed me into my room, I was real chill after the surgery. Like it took a good bit of time. Like that's my first time being under anesthesia. So it took a good bit of time for the actual anesthesia aspect to wear off. So I looked at my stomach because, you know, you'd be curious about how it looked. And then I was all taped up and stuff. and I was distended. My body, my stomach was extremely distended at this time. So, you know, imagine going into abdominal surgery where they move your guts every which way, you know, in ways that you don't like. And so, all I can remember after that was like not the pain from the surgery itself or even the scars. I remember just being in really, really gassy. And for all of y'all that don't know, gas can actually kill you. You feel what I'm saying? So all I can remember was just being hellified gassy. And then so I made a notion to like, hey, you know, I got a nurse practitioner up in here. Like, you ain't even got to call the doctor. You could just sign off on it. This tricker gonna end up prescribing me from the pharmacy, because you know they got the pharmacy on the first level. This tricker gonna end up giving me some Beano. Girl, you take Beano before, so there will be no gas. What the hell am I gonna do with Beano? What? I was better with some magnesium. What you gonna give me Beano for? Girl, you try. That nurse, I hope you see this. You tried it that day. So, and then they were just like, well, at this point in time, like, we gotta be, you know, we're a little reluctant on what we give to you. And I was just like, give me some drugs, girl. And then so she comes in with Demerol, a little horse pill. Then they're gonna tell me I had to break it. So I can take this all at once. What am I gonna do? And I was like, 6 hours later, I was just like, this Demerol ain't working. And I was like, damn, God, okay. So I took it into my own hands. I got up and I moved around. So you guys, after you experience surgery where the major and minor, just get up and move around. I'm telling you. So as I was getting up and moving around, I'm going around the nurse's desk, just releasing gas all the which way. Whoever smell it, you just smell it today. I'm sorry. You tried it. And so I made my way to my mother's room. And keep in mind, this was during the holidays. So it's extremely busy in there. The holidays are the busiest season for transplantation. There's people getting called left and right. You know, when y'all get in accidents or shootings or anything in that nature, just people pass away and they get called for organs. So it's busy. And then so as I'm walking to the room, I realized my mother is up in there. I'm like, hey girl, how you doing? She pumping. You know how you had to shoot back in the day? Where you had to pump it, pump, pump. Like that shoe, like kind of like shoe. So she up in there pumping this pump. I looked at her and I was like, what kind of pump is that you over there pumping? And then the nurse came in behind me and she said, oh, she has morphine. I was just like, the recipient is in less pain than the donor, like a significantly less amount of pain than the donor. Why y'all didn't give me no pump so I could be up in here pumping it? And she was just like, well, your doctor said that you prescribed Demerol. And I was like, well, you go ahead and tell Dr. Rayo to go ahead and prescribe me, give me a morphine pump, give me something a little stronger. And then so I had called my homeboy and he had brought me some Tylenol. That Tylenol worked way better than that Demerol. You tried it. And so after I had got into the room and engaged with her, and she was in extremely high spirits. And then so they were going over the post-surgery procedures with her. And then so this was still kind of sort of around that time frame. And then so I ended up going to sleep. Because that Demerol that's one thing it did do, it ended up like putting me to sleep. And yes, you guys, I was up moving around the first day. Like I was engaging, I was doing everything the first day because I was more worried, more so about my mother than it was me. And then I was myself. And then so day 2 of us being in the hospital, it was on the 23rd, I was told that Santa was finna come by. And then so they were just like, well, we're gonna end up keeping you in the hospital for 2 weeks. I said, huh? My pop's birthday is on the 27th, so I expect to be out and about prior to then. Y'all gonna keep me in the hospital for 2 weeks? Why? And then so on the 24th, we had ended up meeting Santa a little earlier than everyone else. And then so when I had saw them, I was just like, man, y'all done went to the retirement facility across the street and got these people to play Santa and Mrs. Claus. And then they came over here with the audacity to not give any gifts. Like, who are they really trying to entertain over here? Y'all ain't got no gifts with y'all? Y'all ain't got nothing? It's time for me to go. And then so after I got the official release from my surgeon, he was just like, yo, you're doing good and everything. Like I was making my bed. I was bathing myself because the CNA that we had up in there, she was extremely rude and disrespectful. And she breathing just as hard as she want to breathe. And I was just like, well, it's just time for me to go. I'm doing everything myself. Like, let me go. And then so they sent in the discharge paperwork on the 25th. And then so I said my goodbyes to my mom. And then I was just like, my brother came up there to take me home. And then so I was still moving. I was still doing everything myself. To be honest with y'all, I wanted to get out. I wanted to smoke me a black mile. I wanted to drink a little bit. I was ready to go. And then so after they discharged me and they let me go, I'm at the house. I'm still doing everything myself. I was getting ready to, you know, I wanted to move around in different ways. And so I didn't want to have to deal with the aspect of a hernia. So I was making sure that I wasn't lifting anything. You guys, like, I bounced back like tremendously. And another beneficial thing about the laparoscopic technique is, like, you can be like active in like 4 to 5 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, you bounce back. But I just bounced back earlier than the expectation. So as I went ahead and threw away my Demerol. Y'all, I only took 2 of those. I didn't take any painkillers. So if anyone's curious about that, I didn't take any painkillers. Like, they weren't for me. I did take Tylenol here and there. I was still functioning the same. Okay, so we already did that. So I'm just gonna go into the questions that I'm always asked. I'm asked frequently within my 12 years. But before I do, I'm not gonna hold you any longer, I promise. I'm gonna send a special shout out to the LSU transplant team. The LSU transplant team is one of the best in the nation. And what's so special about my transplant surgeon, Dr. Zabori, did my boo right here. My boo right here. And what's so special about Dr. Zabori, if you were to, if you guys are about to go through the experience, through the journey, and you want an ideal of who the surgeon in which you want to go to receive the transplant from, Dr. Zabori graduated from the University of Tennessee Center of Health Sciences with his medical degree. His general surgery internship and residency were obtained at LSU Health Science Centers in Shreveport, Louisiana. He then pursued his interest in abdominal solid organ transplantation throughout his fellowship at Johns Hopkins University of Medicine. Y'all, amazing. He also served at that time as an instructor of surgery. So his recruitment by the Department of Surgery at LSU Health Science Center in Shreveport, which led him to go ahead and teach, and under his mentor, John C. McDonald, John C. McDonald is the founder of organ transplantation. So this man, Dr. Zabori has not only been in the game for such a long time, he actually was mentored under the guy that created or was the founder of organ transplantation, which is like extremely phenomenal. You don't brag about yourself. I didn't know that until a dean of nursing had pointed that out to me, because everyone knows him. And he's supposedly going in history as like the top 20, as he could be top 10, but I was initially told he's the top 20 of transplant surgeons out there. So big hoots to you. I love you to death. That man had told me after my surgery, if there's anything that I ever need in any facet of my life, he said, come to me, because at your age, you made a sacrificial offering. He said that I got you in any way, shape, form that you need. And I really appreciate you, because I know you're going to be seeing this video. So at this time, you guys can see that. This is my plaque, and I know it looks a little red shit because I'm missing the other side, and this ring camera is like all up in my face. So what this says is I was awarded my certificate of appreciation in honor and recognition of your priceless gift of kidney donation. Your gift brings with it the opportunity for renewed health and well-being, and represents the highest love and compassion for others. So I was granted the green ribbon for the month of March, is the transplantation month. And so I like to shout out Dr. Zabori again, my transplant surgeon, Dr. Rayo, my transplant physician, and a special shout out to Nurse Janae Matherly. That's the transplant coordinator at that time, where you go through and you have to, she takes care of everything, and just to get the surgeons and the physician acquainted with you and get you prepared for the ultimate transplant. And I've been told that she's a nurse now, so big cahoots to you. Shout out to Dr. Altman, that is my mother's transplant surgeon. Shout out to Dr. McMullen, which was my mother's transplant physician. And anyone else that was active on the journey, in the journey that I didn't mention, I sincerely apologize. Like I said, we lost a lot of people in this phase. You feel what I'm saying? There are people that have been on this transplant list for 20 plus years. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we do a lot of things to ourselves. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't want anyone to succumb. I don't want anyone to be another statistic in this sense. This is $1 billion industry for a reason. Don't be that person that makes them even more successful, make them more financially successful. You see what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? There's ways in which, and I'll include it in further videos, like the foods that we consume, from the salt and the sugar. I done seen this YouTube video of this girl putting 1 pack of Kool-Aid in a 24-ounce pitcher with a whole pack of Domino sugar. We still drink Kool-Aid. Y'all know how bad? Okay, I'll tell you that in future videos. Like all the salt and all that extra stuff like this. Nobody want all that goddamn salt on their potato salad with it. Like, man, y'all got to stop with all of this. But I'm going to help you and I'm going to guide you along your way. I might include little workout videos on you to keep it tight and keep it right. I look like I had a BBL, so maybe I can get y'all inspired the way y'all can stay your ass up on that damn surgery table. But the questions, I'm going to finish up with the questions that I get asked on a regular basis, and then we're going to conclude this video. I didn't take payments. Does my kidney still communicate? I think, yes, I do still have activity from the kidney. I always forget which one I got removed, but I did get my left one removed. They normally take out the one that sits higher. At this time in point, it really didn't matter which one, but yes, it still communicates with me. Like when my mother's happy, when she's ecstatic, like I'll be able to call her up and I'll be like, who pissed you off today? You know what? Your daddy getting on my damn nerves. And my daddy in the background be like, "Dang, you need to go get the woman, she getting on my damn nerves." Like I could tell like when she's angry in a different aspect. I know it sounds weird, but like I could feel that. And I'll be able to call, I sense like different sensations where I can tell like what she's going through at that time. It's really weird, but really cool. Regeneration. Okay, so when you get one removed, the other one grows in size. Just like where if you were to donate partial of your liver, it regenerates. It magnificent creation. But it's essentially like you're not losing anything. And to this day, my body does not recognize the fact that I have one missing. Like it took on this workload. And so I'm able to go from there. Do I smoke and drink? You tried it. Whoever wrote this, you tried it. You know, sometimes you got to kick back, break out the wine, forget again. Deep down deep, I'm going to find my stash, light it up, it's going to take me back. Smoke a little smoke, drink a little drink. Yeah, I mean, your kidneys, they or any organs of your body do not like that. Sometimes, you know, you got to light up, you know, for special occasions every now and again. You know, put on that, yeah. Just as long as you watch what you smoking out of, you feel what I'm saying? Because that paper that we roll in, you know what I'm talking about, it's very cancerous in a sense. But either way, shape or form, your body does not like because it constricts your vessels. So with what is involved in that constriction is essentially your organs are struggling to breathe and are struggling to get that iron and that hemoglobin. It's struggling with it. So your body doesn't like when you smoke in any facet. Just if you do, just kind of dumb it down a little bit. You don't want to regret it. You know what I'm saying? So what you do now, it essentially will show up in your later years. So you fix it now. That way you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to deal with it later on. As far as drinking, I came to a conclusion with my PCP that, you know, with every drink that I drink, I go ahead and dilute it. So it's just as long as I'm still drinking my 1.5 gallons of water every single day, I detox it out. And sometimes, regardless, you know, like during the celebratory clauses, like for Christmas and New Year's, I'll go ahead and consume my 1.5 gallons of water and just go into a detox phase, a detox state for about 2 to 3 days. out of the week. It's very vital that we detox 2 to 3 days out of the week. You feel what I'm saying? And so I juice cleanse, and I do like a whole bunch of holistic natural remedies, you know, that, and I introduce you to, and I'm super excited for this, I introduce you into the ancient Egyptian, ancient African remedies. And which for skincare, so y'all can stop being out here catfishing people. Like my skin underneath this makeup, don't let it fool you, okay? And my skin is beautiful. Like my skin, like it radiates. And I'll tell you the benefits of honey and how you can use honey as far as your moisturizer and your cleanser to where you can have clear skin out of all of that. So after y'all get finished taking off the hair and the lashes and eyebrows and all of that, you can look presentable without all of that, in that aspect and effort. So I help you in that way, shape, form. Like I said, oh, and sodas. Oh my God, y'all watch out for your sodas. Like the carbonation, and some people like the Topo Chicos and like all that, those carbonated drinks. Just do that in moderation because your kidneys do not like that carbonated. They don't like that. And for the dark drinks, watch out for your colored drinks. I was told that I can consume root beer, but root beer, who the hell like root beer? Like, root beer. But the colored drinks and the dyes, they have a lot of toxins in them as well. Artificial sweeteners are really bad, like really bad. Please don't flag my channel. Please don't flag my video for that. But yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all all of that in future videos. I have so much content. Going back to normal, going back to complete normality, if I will, like complete, like pre-surgery. It took me about, I want to say it took me about 3 weeks to a month. I was completely back to normal, talking noise and backpedaling and popping all around the city. So it took me about 3 weeks to a month in conclusion. Scarring, girl. Guys, when you're trying to holler, I know how I look. I don't need it for you. I have a mirror that depicts me every single day. I know how I look before and after in every facet of my life. Please, when you trying to approach me, and I love to wear my crop tops and stuff, like these are my actual war rooms. Like I didn't get any cosmetic procedures done. You feel what I'm saying? There's nothing fake about me. Like fake people like fake things. I'm a real bitch, so I only like real things. So everything about me, with the exception of my hair sometimes, is real. Please don't ask me, is that the entry in which they did my breast implants. This 40 triple D, this is all natural right here. You feel what I'm saying? Like, please don't ask me, was that the access point for them to do my breast job, my breast augmentation? Please don't ask me that. That's so stupid. And then I have other people that be like, hey, you know, how many children do you have? First of all, I'm not married, so I don't have any children. Second of all, when you have a C-section, I could have sworn that they do the C-section on the bikini line. So I don't know if you're trying to be dead serious or if you're just trying to be funny, like you really just don't know. With childbearing, I'm sure they don't do the incisions above the belly button. So please don't ask me that. That's so stupid. Ugh, you tried it, Trickle. Ugh. So, yes, that's all the questions that I have. Thank God. So I hope that this is my first time in 12 years telling my story from beginning to end, what I've actually experienced, what you can somewhat come to experience. If you have anyone out there that's receiving the calls, I have neighbors that's receiving the calls left and right for organs. Just be rejoiceful. Be rejoiceful of your second chance at life. Just be rejoiceful. It took, like, I'm coming out of my shell. Like, I don't do social media. So this allows me to engage in a new concept, in a new way, shape, or form with you guys. Like I said, this is real, unscripted. This is raw, unedited, uncut. From my experience and what led to my change and my rejoicement and my second chance at life. Because like I said, you don't know if you're going to be here today. You don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. It's just like the rejoicement. Go out into your life not giving a damn what nobody thinking, what nobody say. Because people going to have something to say regardless. That's just human nature. You ask them why? Tell them that it's human nature looking at it. It's just like people going to always have something to say. It's just like you don't give a damn in that aspect. And by caring about what people say, that's not any fun. That's not any fun at all. So go out into your life and get your unicorn and set sail in every day and every facet of your life. There's a lot of people that are no longer with us that wished I could have did this and I could have did that and I could have woo. And nobody got time for the what ifs and I should have, I would have, I could have. You feel what I'm saying? It hurts me to see people not living their life. I'm that person that people go to where they ask for prayers. I'm that person who people feed off my energy. People feed off my spirits. I'm like this naturally. I can't be anyone else but me. Either you like me or you don't. There's no in between. There's no gray area. Either you like me or you don't. For all the people that rep for me, for getting this video out, I appreciate you. Make sure you're here. Give me the subscribers. Give me the following. I'm not doing this for myself. This is, you ask me all the time how I look good, how I rejoice in life, why is my spirit so bubbly? This is it. And I'm giving it to you. It's free. Just like the gift of God. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to sacrifice anything of it. All I need is just a little bit of your time. It's free to you, from me. From my translation, my perspective, I'm giving you all kinds of secrets for free. You're welcome. You guys, regardless of what you've been through in your life, though no one can go back and make a brand new start, everyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. And that's from the great theologist Karl Barth. Y'all better get up on that. That's really good reading. But I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart listening. I hope you were thoroughly entertained. It's not going to be edited, so that 1 hour, I mean, you're not doing anything else. You're not doing anything else. You got time. You got time today. Make sure you view my video in its entirety and make sure you click, you like, you share, you subscribe, comment below. You know, let me know, like, if you have any more questions. I could possibly get my surgeon. He's really cool. I could possibly get my surgeon and do a Q&A for anyone that is about to go endure the journey. Or, you know, you just have some questions, you know. I'm like the old Radio Shack. You got questions? I got the answers, okay? With the God-given mission to continuously live my life to inspire others, it takes courage, motivation, and determination to do so. Make sure that you share to everyone that you can possibly share to. And welcome to the channel. I got so much content. With that God-given mission, I took a chance and I took an ultimate testament test to life from the Most High. And I won. And no one can tell my story like I tell my story. I love you guys. I really do. You're the reason for me being here. And my mission, I do anything in my power to make sure that you not only rejoice and live your life abundantly, but do it for the Most High, for the Most High. You guys have a beautiful, wonderful day. I'm about to hit up the bar. So anybody in downtown, make sure you join me, honey. You might see me out and about. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart and soul. May the Hebrew God in heaven continuously inspire you in every facet of your life. Enjoy your journey.